So I think it is fair to say that when it comes to how long most of us have to wait for our Android updates, most of you feel something like this. Why is it that iOS hipsters receive their updates all at the same time, but Android users have to wait forever? Well, friends, I feel your pain and we are going to do something about it today.
Thank you for calling Google.
Yes, hello, may I speak to Larry Page, please? Yes, there is a Larry Page there, you know, big gummy tooth guy, friend of Sergey, CEO, co-founder kind of guy. That Larry Page. Thank you. Larry! Hey, Jayce here from Android Authority. How are you, buddy? Oh, you watch my shows and love it. That's great, that's great. No, you're thinking of Josh. Listen, Larry, we got some serious frustrated Android users here, and they really want you to work on the fragmentation and pushing out those updates all at once. Really? Oh, okay, I will tell them that, but hey, what about the iOS users? They receive all their updates. Okay, Mr. Page, I will tell them. No, I'm not that Jayce from Android Authority you got a restraining order on. That was Joe. Alrighty, welcome back Android peeps, my name is Jayce, and today I share what I learned about why Android updates take so long to get out to so many people. But first, a brief history lesson. So guys, if you look at the Android version chart below, you can see the Android version history. It started with Android 1.0 and then Android 1.1, but after that, Google called their Android versions by alphabetical code names. They started with Cupcake, Donut, Eclair, Froyo, Gingerbread, Honeycomb, Ice Cream Sandwich, and Jelly Bean, and now, of course, Kit Kat. But what I want to draw your attention to is the fact that as of November 2013, some Android users are still using Froyo. That's like 5-6 versions back. That's crazy. That's the level of fragmentation that's happening on Android, and we're going to talk about why. What I learned is that Android has to go through 3 major processes before that update is finally released to the end user, and here's step 1. So the first thing that needs to happen is that the chipset makers need to provide what's called a hook or code that allows the operating system to communicate and thus control the hardware components. Of course, those hardware components are a little bit different for every device, so that adds time. Not only that, but there's different chipset manufacturers. You have Qualcomm, Texas Instruments, Samsung, Nvidia, etc. All of them take their own separate time to build these hooks, but it's generally accepted that these hooks should take anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks, and thus that takes us to the second stage. In this stage, the software stack is passed on to the manufacturer of the rest of the phone, and of course, each hardware is a little bit different. It has slightly different components, and that software needs to be customized to meet those components. Add to the fact that they have the carrier-related apps that need to be included, so they can't just take TouchWiz and slap it on all their devices and push it out. Those devices are slightly different. Samsung has how many different devices, and they all have slightly different needs. They can't just push it out all at once. But Nick Darcolo from Samsung stated that it takes on average 6 to 8 weeks from when they receive the release from Google to when they can pass it on to the carrier, which is the final step and by far the most time consuming. Welcome to the wonderful world of carrier testing. It has been explained to me that it is painstakingly tedious. They have to test not only every phone they plan to offer, but every phone that they've already sold to ensure that the OS operates as advertised. They have to test not just drop testing and hardware testing, all that kind of stuff, but they have to test out the CDMA, GSM, LTE, multiple networks on multiple providers. It's very complex. So it comes down to the bottom line is, if you are a business in the business of selling new phones, where do you want to apply most of your limited resources? On new phones. So if I have, this old Galaxy Note here, I'm going to be at the end of the update line if I get the update at all. But I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, Jayce, those Apple lovers are getting their updates roughly all at the same time. Tim Cook announces an update, and within 2 or 3 weeks, everyone seems to have it. If they can do it, why can't we? Well, the answer is they're not doing it. They're going through all the same hoops that Android has to go to. It's just that Apple announces those updates at the end of that process, whereas Google announces it at the beginning of their release. You see, Google is the platform of an open source or somewhat of an open source operating system, and so they only take it a quarter of the way, although manufacturers and the carriers have to take that release update the rest of the way. Hence the perception that Android takes a really long time, but Apple is almost instant. Well, it's not. The announcement just happens at different times. That's the reason. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I had a lot of fun researching this. If you found this helpful, please kindly give us a like and subscribe. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments below, and I shall see you next week on Android's Q&A. Larry, I love your yacht. Love it.